Hello, this is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to my channel, Lifting As We Climb Consulting Wellness Services, where we focus on supporting the manifestation of healing individually and collectively. We have been having enlightening conversations for a number of months talking about the experiences of Black women in toxic work environments, and particularly in terms of ways to support healing. Because we want to, number one, raise awareness that these experiences happen, very often for Black women. Unfortunately, we have disproportionate rates in terms of this happening to us. But we also want to emphasize that healing is possible. And so that's why I'm bringing on different Black women to share their experiences, because we know that sharing our stories, giving testimonials are very healing. And it's also very healing to know that we are helping other women. We're lifting as we're healing as well. And so that's why we're continuing to have these conversations. I have previous videos talking about the stages of grief in relation to toxic work environments. If you're interested in watching those videos, please go to my YouTube channel. Again, Lifting As We Climb Consulting Wellness Services, where you will be able to look at all the videos that I've done thus far. And as I've mentioned before, that for Black women, we've often been told that we have to be strong, and there's, this image of us that we're always strong, and we are strong. However, there are times that we've been harmed, and it's important for us to be able to say we've been harmed and to really stand up to those conditions that are harming us. Yes, we have every right to be angry, sad, whatever we're feeling when we've been harmed. And it's important for us to be able to speak out, because we know that silencing is a form of oppression. Also, we know that if we don't speak out, then it gives the message that, people can continue to do this to us. So it's very important that we continue to share our stories, that we continue to speak out and say, this is not okay. This is not okay. So I see that a number of people have joined us. We are having another special guest today. We're just waiting for her to join in today. As I said before, and hopefully you saw the episode last week with Adelia, and we talked about reconnecting to our joy. And just think about how powerful that is as Black women, to be able to reconnect to our joy and to incorporate more joyful activities in our lives. So I just see someone wrote in the chat, I just spoke out to a friend and needed to have healthy boundaries. Yes. So we know that for our own lives that we do so many things, and sometimes people can drain us, situations that we're in, people that we're around. Sometimes they can drain us. And so it's very important to set healthy boundaries. And sometimes people may not like it when you set healthy boundaries. They may feel like, you're not there for me. I was there for you. And so those boundaries are important to set, because if you don't, then you will become depleted. You'll become burnout. You'll start to become resentful. So again, it's very important that we are mindful of really paying attention to and have our special guest joining us right now, Ericka Chancellor. Ericka, hi,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good to see you. And I just want to say that I am just thankful of being able to say I'm good, right? Because I know, when we go through times of challenge and when we're in toxic jobs, we dread to get up. But I can honestly say I feel good.
Yes.
So thank you for coming today. I was just giving an overview of some of the episodes I've done thus far and the reasons that we're having these conversations. So I want to welcome you, Ericka. And if you could introduce yourself, and then we'll go right into the conversation.
Okay, perfect. My name is Ericka Chancellor. I'm a licensed hairstylist for over 25 years. I love the business, and I worked for State Board for over 15 years. I'm also a NACA's accreditation evaluator for beauty schools. So I have my hands in a lot of the hair business.
Yes. And what stood out to you, you said you love the work. And
Yes,
that's so important, to say you love the work. So that continues to keep you there, right?
exactly.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So, Erica, I actually met you through one of our other previous guests, Rosanna Ross, right? And she was like, hey, my hairdresser has a story. And so I just thank you for being open when I reached out to you and being available to participate today.
Oh, yes, no problem. And Rosanna is one of my longtime clients. I think I've been doing her hair for over 15 years.
Wow.
Um,
That's a long time.
so we
And
have
we know Black women, when you find a hairdresser you trust, you're not leaving that person, right?
exactly, you already know that.
Exactly, exactly. So if we can kind of just go into the conversation, Erica. So can you share with the audience about a time that you've been in a toxic work environment?
So one of the times, well, specifically when I was working for State Board of California, one of the most memorable times when I was in a toxic situation with my job was I had been working there for over 10 years, and I found out that all that time that I should have been receiving PTO hours, and I hadn't gotten any. And
What's PTO hours? Is that overtime?
that is your vacation and your sick pay hours.
Oh, okay.
And so that whole 10 years I hadn't been able to access that, or didn't even know that I had that until I started doing
Wow.
research. And so when I found that out, I immediately confronted my supervisor. And so he did the research, and it seems like he was so mad that I had found out that that had happened.
Oh,
That,
how dare you?
yes, exactly. How dare you? And
Right.
when he gave me the hours, he just tore off a piece of paper, wrote the hours on there, and gave them to me. He wouldn't give me a formal piece of paper or anything, or
Like
how
very dismissive.
that, yeah, very dismissive. So
Oh,
that I knew that I was in a very toxic work environment.
yes, yes, yes. And then were you able to get what you needed after he gave you the paper?
I was able to get that, but of course they were holding back on everything else that had to do with me being an actual, I guess you would call civil servant employee. Yeah, they they
So
held.
it impacted like your pay, your benefits, all that.
Yes, yes. So at that time, employers were supposed to provide medical insurance for full-time employees. I never got any medical insurance while I worked there. So when you say toxic, yeah,
That is crazy. Toxic to the extreme that your health wasn't even considered.
my
And
health.
so when you spoke up about this, what was kind of the fallout? What happened after you spoke out? How did the people who were kind of not sharing this information with you, how they treat you going forward?
So after I had found out that I was entitled to all this and approached them, oh, it was really on then. So my supervisor, she started um making everybody sign a new contract. And so in this new contract, your hours would be, I mean, your pay would be lowered, but you'd receive these specific benefits that I had been asking for, that I had already kind of earned,
Yeah,
and
you were entitled to those.
exactly that I was entitled to. But
Uh-huh.
she would start to come in periodically, because she was up north in Sacramento, but she would come in
Hmm.
periodically and just try to force this new contract on people. So I was like the last one to sign this contract. And I
Hmm.
remember saying no to her. And when I came out of her office, she approached me and she shrugged her shoulder up against me, basically
What?
assaulted me.
What?
It was so unbelievable. And from
Wow.
on, they literally were messing with my hours. They lowered my hours. They wouldn't call me to come into work.
So straight up harassment.
Straight up harassment. Straight up.
Wow. Did anybody else witness this, Erica, this happening to you?
Strange, because it was like Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Sorry. Uh-huh.
Okay. It was strange because the other ladies, I don't feel like they wanted to pretty they wanted to stick up for themselves. It was surprising that
Hmm.
they would just blow this stuff off, but I was the one just digging in and like, no, I'm not gonna just go for the okie doke.
You sound
And
like me.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
it's like a
go
part
for
of
it.
us is like, no, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to speak out, right?
Yeah,
And then we're kind of expecting our colleagues to kind of rally around us because they've been doing wrong too, and you left out in the wind, right? Like, where are they? They just gone.
a lot of times that's how it was, really.
Yes,
I tried to get
yes.
involved and they sided with the employer. It was
What?
a really crazy situation working for state board. It was
Wait,
so
wait, wait.
crazy.
Were these people you had like professional relationships with,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and they
Yeah,
sided with the
definitely.
other side?
They sided with the other side. They sure
Wow,
did. They
that goes to like that
side,
betrayal I talk about.
which
The
let me
betrayal.
know that yeah, the union just was not working for real for the employees of the state.
Wow.
Not at all.
Oh, Erica. And so as you were going through that process, can you share with, the listeners, what was that like for you as you were going through this experience? Like what toll or impact did it have on you?
Wow. So, of course, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of
Mm,
dreading of getting going into work in the morning.
yeah.
And the crazy thing was, I'm an early bird, but I literally would have to go in. I have to be at work at 6 o'clock.
Ooh,
So at 6 o'clock, because we were giving exams. So,
okay.
when you state exams, you have to be there early.
Yeah.
And so literally I would get no sleep and then still have to pop up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So
Oh
my
my gosh.
level was off the chain. Um,
Wow.
it was very frustrating. Of course, my finances ended up having a big impact, from this. And
Right.
then,
That contract, right?
yes, exactly. Because,
Did you kind of feel intimidated to sign it at some point?
I never signed the contract, but do you know that they still went in and changed my hours and changed my
What?
pay?
Wow. That sounds illegal.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It was
That is
a
crazy.
one. Yes. And the
Uh,
thing was that because the court systems is part of the state, they didn't really, yeah.
do anything. So you were really alone,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you were dealing with sleepless nights. Your pay was impacted, so you had some strain with that, right? And then what were your thoughts in terms of your coworkers and your relationships with them? Like how was that impacted?
Well, I had noticed that my coworkers had began to like distance themselves from me.
Hmm.
It was crazy because I was like, I'm not just fighting this for myself. This is for
You're
you guys.
right.
If this
You're
if
right.
if my pay gets impacted, you guys are going to be impacted as well. Don't you want something
Right.
to happen for you? And yeah, so it started a lot of tension between the
Oh,
employees. And
yeah.
I feel like they meant to do that because they started giving them the hours instead of giving me the hours.
Oh, wow. Like a divide and conquer,
That
right?
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Wow. So in that sense, Erica, it was also like, man, like these are people I thought that we were in the same bat. I thought that we were, that I'm speaking up for all of us. And they're like, no, you're speaking out for yourself because we're too fearful to do anything because we see what happened to you.
exactly.
Right. So we'll let you stand out there, but we don't want that happening to us. So we'll just kind of retreat. And it just reminds me of just so many times when you think about movements,
Yeah.
right? That you have somebody who's out in the forefront, right? And
Mhm.
they get the attack, right? Then you have the people in the background, they're chattering, they're complaining about it, but they're so fearful they don't do anything about it. But what they don't realize, Erica, is that they're complicit. Now you're complicit in the
Yeah,
oppression, right?
exactly.
Yes. So, Erica, how did you end up? What was the moment you were like, "I'm done with this. This is not working for me. This is not healthy."
So they had a new position had come up in the office as a supervisor. Because
Uh-huh.
supervisor that wrote the amount of the amount on the piece of paper, he ended
Hmm.
up hiring. So I said, okay, well, let me try for this job. So and several of the employees applied for the job. You know, we all were qualified because we had been there
Uh-huh.
10 years and we knew how to run the
Hmm.
basically. But the I applied for the position. First of all, I went through this runaround where they said they never received my application.
No, no,
Yeah,
really? Like the dog ate my homework.
yeah,
Like, really?
yeah. But
Okay.
received my applications for the other jobs that I applied for, but she didn't.
Uh-huh. But it's not that one. Okay.
So and then they ended up hiring another supervisor from up north that didn't even live. They had to relocate her to California.
Wow.
And at that point, I kind of realized that, you know what, this is a lose lose situation. So
Yeah.
I might as
Yeah.
well.
Like there's no opportunities for you to grow at
No,
all.
no.
Right? And then they're lying, they're being dishonest about it on top of it. So it was just all this toxicity going on. And
Ex-
so that was the point you said, I'm out of here.
I gotta leave. I gotta set myself up. So I ended up getting my own salon so that I can
Okay.
make more
Do your
money.
own thing.
Yeah, doing my own thing. And at that point, I realized that I just did not want to work for the state anymore,
I
or
got
corporate
you.
America.
Right, right, right. Because now you calling your own shots, you're doing your own thing.
Exactly.
So, Erica, can you share with the audience too? Because we talked about this in the last interview. Sometimes when we make choices to leave something, it could be very scary,
Yeah.
right? So, can you speak a little bit about the fear and how you work through the fear? Because sometimes we stay in toxic situations, toxic jobs because we're scared. Like, well, at least I know the paycheck's coming from, or at least I know my health insurance is coming from, but it's killing us,
But that was,
right?
and that's what made it really hard to leave, is because I had, bought a house and now my mortgage payment is due. And then at the same
Oh,
time, I was a single parent, so I still had
uh-huh.
to provide for my kids. And
Yes,
to leave wasn't just going to be an easy decision to make.
right.
Um,
It's a high stakes.
exactly. It really was. And believe me, it had a lot to do with my trust in God and my faith in God that I went
Hmm.
that move, because I don't know what I would have did. I just had no idea how I even made it through, you know,
Yes,
just working with my clients and just going to
yes,
every day, not knowing, and then can't clients canceling, and just not having that steady income,
right.
the state coming in every month. So it definitely was a challenge, but
Yeah,
and God is, I must say, and good friends, they helped.
yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So faith in God and a good sisterhood
Yeah,
circle around you, right? Helped you work through the fear because you knew that I can't stay here. Even though I'm fearful of moving on, I know God got me. I know my sisters got me.
yes.
I got to move on. I got to move on. Okay. And so tell us a little bit in terms of your healing journey. So you got your own salon.
Mhm.
What else was involved in your healing journey, Erica?
So what was involved in my healing journey was, first, like you said, my relationship with God. Definitely
Hmm.
noticed that my relationship with God and going to worship and praying more, all those things really helped me through all the anxiety and the negative thoughts that I
Mm,
was thinking. And then
yes.
secondly, it was just trying to promote myself in my business, networking
Hmm.
with a lot of people, um,
Hmm.
just really putting myself out there as a salon owner is what really
Yes.
through and help to build up my income, where that I can be
Hmm.
able to afford the things that I was affording when I was working on that job.
Yes, exactly. So you have your own stuff, right?
Yeah,
You make your own rules And guess what? You can make your own income and get your own health insurance. So
Yeah,
it's not that you have to be working for toxic environments to get these things. So you realize that. And so that was very fulfilling and very healing. And so you talked something too that was very noteworthy. A lot of times we're tripped up by our own thoughts,
yes,
right? Our anxiety, our fears, our like depression, like all these different things kind of creep in, right?
yeah.
So in the moment as that anxiety would come in, what would you say to it, Ericka?
Well, sometimes, like you said, being human, sometimes it got to me. It got to
Uh-huh.
having sleepless nights, and I was, just worried and taking that frustration
Yeah.
on my family and stuff like that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
because I know my family loves me, they will bring it to my attention and let me know. And so I was able to make some changes.
Yes. 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 So, Ericka, you said something I was actually going to ask you next in terms of we know that when we're in toxic work environments, it spills over to our home life. It doesn't just stay at the job, right? It affects us all the time because when we go home, we're thinking about it once we leave work. Then when we get home, we're thinking about what
Yeah.
happened. And then we're not fully present in our families. So that's a problem. And then we're talking about work stuff all the time. And our families are like, I'm so done hearing about these people. Like, I don't want to hear about these people anymore. And so they're able to say to you, hey, back up, like that. I didn't do that to you. That was them. And so it's very important that we recognize as women and as mothers and as people who are, in connection with other people that when we are hurting, first of all, it hurts people around us who care about us to see us hurting,
Yeah.
right? And then we have to think about, particularly as mothers, what image or what are we modeling for our children,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we modeling for our children, it's okay for people to treat us like garbage and
Exactly.
just to keep going in and not just say anything?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we want to model this is what it's like to stand up to people. This is what it's like when you're being bullied. You stand up, you fight, right? Even if other people don't have your back, you find a circle of people who do have your back. So I
Yeah.
know that that has been very important to me, for my children to see, no,
Yeah.
mom is not setting up to this, right? And yes. And so I'm wondering, Ericka, for your children, what did they say to you as you were going through this process besides, hey mom, like I didn't do this, what other kind of things did they say to you through this process?
Well, they were very supportive. They were very supportive with me going through this situation. But I noticed from them that I showed them empowerment and that
Uh-huh.
them empowerment and that you don't have to just sit there and take
Yes.
going on in your life.
Yes.
That you can
Yes.
stand up, you do have a voice, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's not heard, still use it.
Yes.
And so I think that they learn empowerment because even now they'll come to me with problems like, Mom, do you know that they're doing this on my job? And so what do you think? And so they're always asking me for advice and how I can
Oh,
help
wow.
and how I can help them resolve some situations. So, like I said,
Yeah.
it gave them empowerment. It seemed,
Yeah.
lay down and become a victim and allow people to victimize you. But you have
Yes.
a voice and you can do something about it. And you might not win all the time. But
Right.
because you stood up for yourself because you said something, you used your voice and it gave you
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you showed them and you taught them I will not be silenced, just as you will not be silenced. So the power of using your voice
yeah,
and also saying to them, you know what? These situations may happen to us. People may treat us in a foul way. And there's whatever their reasons are, that's on them. They're miserable people, right? That's on them.
yes,
But the fact is that even if people treat us that way, we are not victims, right? We can acknowledge we've been wronged, we've been harmed, but we're not victims, right? We're going to
exactly.
stand up and fight this. We are the victors. And
Yeah.
so that is so powerful to teach your children because as they go through life, they're going to have to deal with this kind of stuff all the time.
Yes, and we both know life is not a smooth sailing. So
Right.
see me go through some issues and see me still here and still smiling
Yes.
and still being able to give and even talk about the situation. Some people go through
Yes.
it and they never want to talk about it. It's like, okay, I
Yes.
talk about that no more. they don't want to bring it up. But no, I'm here to share, and I'm here to let people know that, even though you do have a toxic work environment, it's not the end of life. You can
Exactly.
you can empower yourself. Don't just lay down and become the victim and
Yes.
people to just step over you. You can.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. And Ericka, you say something too that and I think that you're a model not only for people who are listening, but also for your children, right? So you are like a mentor to your children, right? In terms of they're coming to you for advice, but also that you have gone through a traumatic event. And guess what? You rose higher. You
Exactly.
rose higher than where you were before. And
Yeah.
to show people like, no, you can go even higher than you were, but you have to have whatever it is that you did that you need to heal. You need to practice that and connect to that. And so that is just fantastic for people to share that. And, you said something in terms that really resonated with me, sharing our stories,
Yes.
sharing our testimonies. And, the more I talk about it, that's why I have this platform now, right? So
Exactly.
at first I was just going to do like, a few of them, and more Black women were like, hey, can you talk some more about this? And can I be a guest? And the more I talk about it, the more healing it is for me in
Yes.
terms of my own experiences. And then to be able to talk to you, so that's healing for you.
Yes.
And think about all the other Black women that it's healing for.
Yes.
So I just appreciate you being so honest and transparent about your process, your healing process.
Yes, definitely. And thank you so much for having this platform, because even though we know that, the workforces have opened up for Black women or women of
Hmm.
color, we still are fighting through situations that are not being seen. You
Exactly.
have a lot of stuff that's going on in the background. We have
Yes.
Supreme Court justice there, but of course but we know that in the background it's not going to be easy for her. It's
And
not.
even in the foreground, we saw them harass her and just question her worth. And how many of us have been in situations and we're like, our worth is being questioned, even though we have the qualifications,
Even though we're qualified.
right?
Yes, yes. So
More than qualified.
yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the
Mhm.
mental that they're going to put on her in the background that we'll never be able to see. The
And we got to uplift her. We
Yeah,
just got to uplift her.
we do.
Yes.
We do. We do.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
all
Yes.
that
Yes.
stuff is in the background when you come in as a woman of color and you're working in
Mm-hmm.
corporate fields or in these positions that, they didn't normally see us in, and they're not
Uh-huh.
seeing us in. So
Right. Right.
you got to fight
And
a
as long as you stay in your place,
right.
right? If you stay in your place, it might be less. But if you kind of question people or challenge, like, hey, this is not right, like you did, then you
Exactly.
get the backlash, right? The push out, the pushback, and all that. And we have to recognize as Black women, when that happens in our environment, number one, that's a huge sign you do not belong there. You
Right.
don't belong anywhere where somebody is pushing you back or pushing out if you're using your voice, right? And wouldn't a good workplace want to elevate you? When
Exactly.
you want to be a supervisor, wouldn't they want to elevate you? So
Exactly.
these are all signs this is not the place for you. And being okay with saying, you know what, maybe I don't leave today or tomorrow, but I'm going to start working on my exit plan and getting out of here, right? Because I need to be someplace that supports me and really fulfills me. And so, Ericka, I just want to say thank you again for sharing your story. And if you could share with the audience, how will people contact you? You said you're a salon owner. So how will people tell us about your shop and how they will contact you? And what type of services that you offer too?
Okay, so I'm a salon owner in Inglewood, California, home of the champions. And I'm at Sweet One Hair Studios. And you can find me on Instagram at Ericka Styles. You can also find me on Facebook at Ericka Chancellor. And then you can also find me on YouTube. And I have a YouTube channel, Beyond the Chairs Events. And what Beyond the Chairs Events does is we talk to hairstylists about their situations and about things that we go through as hairstylists.
I
So
love it.
yeah, so
I'm not a hairstylist, but I'm a subscribe.
it really helped me to reinvent myself leaving there.
Yes,
It really helped
yes,
myself.
yes, Ericka. And that speaks so dear to my heart because I always believe in the power of reaching up and helping one another as we move forward, right? As my company's called Lifting As We Climb. Like, as I'm moving forward, how can I help you? Like,
It,
competition, there's no place for competition,
it's not.
particularly for us as Black women. We all hurt when we compete like that. And how can we help each other out? So I love what you're doing. So, okay, so tell the salon name again, and then the YouTube and the Instagram one more time.
Okay, so the salon name is Sweet One Hair Studios. We're also on IG as Sweet One Hair Studios, and that's Sweet SWEET.
Okay.
Sweet One. Yes, and then I'm on YouTube at Beyond the Chairs Events.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Ericka, thank you for joining. I want to say to the audience, thank you for listening today as we have these powerful conversations about Black women healing in relation to toxic work environments. We want you to know that you do not have to stay in these environments, right? There are options, there are choices for us. We have to know our worth and know when it's time to go. Okay. So it might look different in different ways, but really pull on those things that help you heal. So you are in affirming environments. We never want to wake up, just like we talked about, Ericka, waking up in dread. That's a horrible feeling. Okay. You never want to wake up. God gives us a day each day, and we don't want to reward God with saying, I dread this day. Okay. So that's very important. And I also want to share with the audience that I do have a job coaching program for Black women. If you're interested in leaving a toxic job, but you need to kind of process all that garbage and the grief and everything associated with the old place, so you don't take it to the new place, right? Because that new place is a new opportunity for you.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that, if you can go to my website, Lifting As We Climb Consulting, and you can request a 15-minute consultation call. And again, I have Lifting As We Climb Consulting Wellness Services on YouTube for you to watch all the other episodes. We will be back again next week for another discussion of Black women talking about healing in toxic work environments. And I'm just surprised that we've been able to go this long. I've been able to go this long in the series, right? But it really taps into my personal mantra, can't stop, won't stop. You know what I mean? Like, I can't stop, won't stop talking about it because this issue is continuing to happen. And as Black women, we have to take this very seriously because as Black women, we're now dying at younger ages because of external stresses. And a toxic job is an example of a toxic, stressful event, right? Or experience.
Definitely.
So, Ericka, thank you so much.
The next generation, and that's what we don't want to do too, is to continue to perpetuate this whole anxiety and not waking up in the best way that we can.
Right. I mean, just think about, Ericka, how much our ancestors had to go through for us to be here right now.
Exactly.
Right. And so is that how we want to honor them, by dreading waking up after all they sacrificed for us? No. Okay. So there's much bigger for us. We need to know that we need to affirm our worth, and we need to be around people and situations that affirm our worth as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So have a good day, everyone. Have a good day, Ericka. And I look forward to seeing you all on next Monday.
All righty. Thank you. And
bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.